The number of M&A transactions in Italy has been growing since the beginning of the year. So we've seen 18 billion worth of M&A transactions in Italy. So what's the appeal for an international investor coming in Italy and deciding to invest in mid-market players in the country?
For a start, the product that let's call it Italy company sells are extremely appealing. There are leaders in sectors such as consumers, luxury, fashion, which I think offer a product that is recognized worldwide. The Made in Italy is a label that everybody wants to own, and therefore that creates a lot of opportunity for investors like ourselves to look at these realities in the Italian market. So that I think is the real appeal of the Italian mid-market.
But Italian companies are not easy to understand and to read. Especially you need to be familiar with the culture. These companies are often revolving around an entrepreneur who's usually a father with the kids involved in the business. So the family is deeply involved in managing the company. How do you actually address this issue?
This is a key issue, and I think this represents a level of high risk of investing in this type of enterprises. Because most often than not, the companies, you say, revolve around this one figure. There's very limited structure around the company, very limited management talent. And so I think that, first of all, you need to invest in this realities with a view to partner with this company. This allows you to, first of all, negotiate better terms for the transaction, and secondly, also in reality that are relatively small, make sure that there are not huge turbulences that would upset the investment. Secondly, I think private equity needs to focus very much on bringing real skills and real competence to the investments that they make. So, for example, Change Capital, the fund I work for, is focused on consumer and retail, and we only look at this space because we feel that in order to generate value from an investment, we need to be able to speak the same language as the entrepreneur. This allows us to have privileged conversation with them and also to bring skills to bear that are fundamental for the investment to generate returns. Secondly, in order to tackle the issue of the companies being of limited structure, we think it's fundamental to build a team. And in order to build a team, you have to have a competence and knowing exactly the type of competence that are missing in the organization and that are present and that you should leverage. And so I think the work of a private equity investor in Italy is very much nurturing the family and entrepreneurial-driven enterprise into a much more structured and methodical organization.
So we need to become more German.
Unfortunately, I think that's one way of putting it. I think we need to make sure we don't lose the DNA of the Italian companies, which is certainly focused around passion, energy, innovation. But we certainly would benefit from becoming a little bit more structured in our approach to how we manage these realities, particularly when we're looking, like right now, at foreign markets as our main driver of growth. To tackle foreign markets, you need to have a structured organization. Otherwise, you have a very opportunistic approach, which is not suitable to private equity settings.
And Italian companies used to be very much against private equity investors. They used to be very conservative. Are these companies now changing their attitude towards private equity investors because of lack of liquidity, of banking liquidity?
I think the answer is resoundingly yes. I think for two reasons. One, because of the liquidity needs of these companies. With the banking sector essentially frozen, they need to find other sources of capital. But also, I think more interestingly, there's an openness from the entrepreneur that has understood that the current situation is the status quo. Nothing in the domestic market will change, and therefore we need to look abroad, we need to look at overseas market, and in order to do that, they need to find qualified players with whom they can interact. And that's why I think private equity can play a very important role of helping the entrepreneur entering into these markets.
Nico Iacuzzi, Change Capital, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.